Could someone please tell me why Microchip hires people to intentionally make their spec sheets confusing? Of course, I'm being a little facetious, but recently I was working on a project and using a spec sheet to check fuse settings. Take a look at this table. Let's start with clock failure detection. Let's assume we want this feature. What value should we put in that bit position? Can you tell without reading the line several times? Here's the high fuse byte table. Suppose we want to enable the reset pin, disable debug wire, and enable serial programming. What values do we put in those positions? How long did it take you to figure that out, and how confident are you that you got it right? Suppose we want programmable memory preserved. One is not reserved, but what the heck does that mean? Not to mention the use of preserved with a P and reserved with an R. Then we are at brownout detect level again. But is that a mistake? This item was covered in the extended byte table. Why not make the tables clear and helpful like this? This version shows clearly that one usually, not always, means disabled. And notice that the enable-disable status is excluded from the description column to avoid confusion. Adding the 0 and 1 columns makes it easy to know what value to use for each entry. And the defaults column is presented in a consistent, clear way. The low fuse byte is even harder to use. Hit pause and notice that the table only gives some vague ideas about functions. Here is how I would do the low fuse byte table. Notice that enough detail is present to make at least several settings actionable without footnotes and cross-referencing. I don't know that Microchip is any worse than other chip makers, but I do recommend that any chip makers with this type of technical writing do some usability testing before publishing confusing documents like this. Note that the items discussed were the only items I referenced. I would not be surprised if the rest of the document is written similarly. Incidentally, please don't use my revised tables as a reference because I still don't know if they are accurate given what they were based on. That's it for now. It's time to get back to my projects.